Welcome back to Flashback Files, where we help students, recent grads, and young professionals reflect on how early experiences shape confidence, identity, and career direction. Today's conversation is about learning who you are by doing through work, curiosity, relationships, and real-world experience. My guest today is Keighan. He's someone whose story isn't about a straight line or a perfectly mapped plan, but about showing up with kindness, effort, and curiosity wherever he is. In this conversation, we'll talk about learning styles, self-leadership, people skills, and how you figure out what's next when you're still discovering what you're good at. Keighan, I'm glad you're here.
All right, it is great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Keighan, if someone met you for the first time today, let's say, how would you describe yourself? Not anything pertaining to work, but just you as a person.
For sure. I try to brighten everybody's day up at least a little bit because I find life is too short to not enjoy it. So I'd hopefully come off in some sort of positive manner and try to brighten up a day. And I love having brief conversations with just anybody on the street and just kind of getting a sense of where people are at. So hopefully in some sort of brighter, more positive tone.
Cool. So that's where maybe the curiosity in you comes out, learning about somebody.
Absolutely. Everybody's their own different person and they all have like a life story growing up and what's shaped them to be them. So I love learning about that kind of stuff and what really makes a person who they are and that kind of thing. So it's always great to have some deep conversations with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you think that came from?
Definitely my parents for sure. My dad is a storyteller and he's a huge community person. So I've kind of inherited that as well. And same with my mom. She's really about close connection with people. I've kind of taken a look at that and I do a lot of deep thinking as well about what the point of life is, why everybody's here. And I've come to find like there's just so much negativity in the world. It's just so much better to spread some joy and try to make somebody's day a bit better. I think it comes from that, trying to like really brighten up the world a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's quite a bit of negativity out there. It's good that you're a bright light shining
Thank you.
at
Try to
all
be
that.
for sure.
What do you enjoy most about your current work environment? Maybe kind of share with listeners what you do.
Yeah, for sure. I work downtown at a place called Ashman Smashburgers, which is a beautiful little family owned business that used to be from a food truck. And over the last, I think, 5 years or so, they've kind of graduated from the food truck into a proper restaurant. And it's my favorite part about working there is definitely the people I work with. They are all positive, outgoing, incredible influences that like every day we show up, we're cracking jokes, listening to good music, and it's a really nice community of hardworking people. It's like my previous jobs have been quite tough. Like I'd have stress before work and it would be tough to be at work. But especially being here, it's just like opened my third eye and my workplace trauma is just kind of out and gone. And it's just like every day I go into work, I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. It's a smaller community. Oh, the culture sounds like a pretty good place to
Absolutely.
be. And you're talking about workplace trauma prior. Maybe
Mhm.
that I don't know if you mind talking about it, but maybe later
No,
on in the
absolutely.
discussion we can touch on that a little bit.
Absolutely, for sure.
Okay, great. What do you think people notice about you when they first interact with you?
That's a good question. I don't think about it a whole lot as I try not to keep that kind of thing on my mind. I try to just be myself. But I'd really hope somebody like outgoing that puts in their best. It's no matter what I'm doing, if I'm doing it for a good cause, I'm trying to do it at my 100% and try to keep people in mind. So hopefully someone thoughtful.
Okay. Great. I love that intro to like that's
Right.
not the first thing that you have on your mind. That just sounds like it's a very sincere interaction that you're having with people.
It's I used to think that way a lot. And it's big thing about social anxiety I find is if you're worried about what other people think, it's always trying to live up to that expectation. But at a certain point, you have to just come back down to earth and realize that everybody's different and bring something else to the world. I try to just be as authentic to myself as I can, no matter where I'm at. And then I find that brings along some good vibes.
Amazing. This kind of a segue into the next one. When do you feel most confident or in your element during a normal week?
I play a lot of computer games and chat with friends online in that way. I'd say that's definitely my biggest element is I have like a Discord server I love building a community around. We do game nights a few times a week and always get a good group of friends from all over the world to sit and watch shows and stuff like that. And it's a great time to be at home, relax, just kind of get like a nice cup of tea, get some pajamas on, and really build a community there. That's definitely where I feel most in my element for sure.
And do you feel confident in that element in terms of like where do you think it comes from and how is it attributed to the community that you've built? Like what do you think are what are the elements that come out of that that make you feel like you
For
done good?
sure. Yeah, right? It's, definitely complicated for sure, but it's especially with how distant everything is in the world, it's I have friends from, like, down in Oregon, Lethbridge, Alberta, even Maryland, out under New York, and it's just like a place where everybody that just thinks similarly can get together and just put everything aside and just kinda take a deep breath and relax no matter what's going on. So I feel really good about being able to bring all sorts of people that have a lot of struggles in real life it kind of into one place to just kind of relax and decompress a little bit.
And I would imagine connect.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to have like similar thinking people in one place to just kind of get together and share some thoughts. It's a really nice place to just be around.
Awesome. Looking back on school, Keegan, how would you
Mhm.
describe your relationship with learning?
It's a little bit tough with school. I found the school structure doesn't work very well for me because I'm undiagnosed, but I have pretty bad ADHD. I find it's pretty hard for me to sit down and just take in information from the front of a class. But so I ended up graduating with an adult dogwood, which is where you come back when you're 18 or plus and then retake a few classes to get your full graduation. I've graduated that way, but I found a lot of my learning has been just online through YouTube or research on questions I have and stuff like that in a format that works a little bit better for me, where I can kind of deep dive, constantly ask questions. Like Google is such an amazing resource, just having like every bit of information on the world there. I definitely enjoy my time in school, but I've really enjoyed taking my learning to like the next step just as I'm curious about the world.
Like an independent study.
Exactly, right? It's I'm really big into like I like building keyboards, I'm into computers and that kind of thing. It's like when you're going to build a computer, being able to just look up like, "Oh, what does this speed of a RAM even mean? Like, what could that be?" And then looking at that and then realizing how it connects to everything. It's
Mhm.
it's like one question leads to another and you just end up learning all about something and it's a really cool way to learn and kind of take some knowledge in about things.
What sparked your interest in building keyboards and all of the sort, and how old were you when you delved into that?
Right. It's really my interest started when I was quite young, as I was always a really intrigued about technology because I never knew how it worked. It's like when I was younger, I think I ended up with my first console. I think it was a Wii back when I was 10 or 11. And from then, it's like it feels like magic almost. You just kind of have this little box sitting on your shelf. It plays to the TV. You can play games on it and just point your remote to have your clicker move around. I always thought like, wow, that's so interesting. I wonder how that works, but I never really took that to the next level. As I got out of high school and into my, adulthood, I ended up getting my own computer and I ended up getting a pre-built for my first one. And after that, I realized it wasn't running and doing the things I wanted it to. So I was like, how could I improve that, make it a bit better? So I started slowly upgrading it and then fully fledged into building my own computer in 2023. And it was kind of very slow steps, but it was like the more I wanted to do, the more curious I got until it got to the point where I'm at now, where it's like anything I could learn about it, I absolutely love hearing about it and learning all the new things and what's coming out. So it's been a long journey, but it's a really, really curious one.
How long does it from start to finish, how long does it take to build a computer?
It really depends on like how much money you have for that kind of thing. But I'd say when you start building it, it can take over parts and ordering and stuff like that, maybe 2 weeks. It really depends where in the world you live and how long it takes to ship things. If you were to like just sit down and you had all the parts for it, I'd say it would take about a day to build. Maybe a little bit less if you're super experienced, but I'm still kind of getting the ropes.
And are you enjoying it today?
Absolutely. It's so much fun. You definitely get to feel like when you put together a PC that turns on, works, and then you can play games or do things at a higher rate and to better quality. So you just get to directly see how much work you put into it and how much it pays off. And it's such a reward.
I can only imagine. And when when you're building a computer, are you individualizing it to? Like, what are the elements of the computer that are tailored to Keegan?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I find everybody does put their own twist on it, but a lot of the time when I build a computer, it's more for the functionality than the look of it. I've kind of tailored mine to have like there are different generations of products that come out as time goes on. I built my computer around having a really good motherboard, which is kind of like the hub center of your computer. And then if I want to upgrade, then I can just upgrade little components off of that in the future. But that's kind of like my little takeaway that I've put in as my own special thing is I made sure I had a really good base to my computer so that whenever I want to upgrade just a singular part, I just can go online and look for some parts that work with my motherboard and then I'm good to go. I can just put that right in there and it'll work. It's
Excellent.
kind
Is
of
this just a hobby for you? Would you ever think about scaling this for other people?
it's definitely just a hobby for now, but I'm really passionate about it and really enjoy it. So definitely consider taking it into a career someday. It's there's so much to learn and so much coming out. It's like you're always learning something about them. It'd be the perfect type of career for me.
How do you think your learning style shows up in your work today? You talked about highly visual resources like Google and videos and that sort of things. When you're at work, is there some elements of what you do day to day that maybe reflect your learning style?
I think so. It's I've actually found it rather difficult to pick up new jobs as I'm just a little bit on the spectrum, not diagnosed or anything, but I do really really well with routines and I have a hard time picking up new things. But when I started working at this burger place back in November and it's super basic, just learning the basics, but when it's a completely new environment, it's really hard for me to pick up those basic pieces and get into those routines. But it's really good to kind of step back and take a look into that and be like, hey, this is where you're at. You're going to get better from there. You just have to try your best every day and you're going to get those routines built up. It's gotten to a point now where every time I'm doing something, I just ask as many questions as I can to get as much clarification as I can. And as long as I do it a few times, I've been getting good and getting into a habit of redoing the same things to a higher quality. It's gotten to the point where I've gotten so much experience doing all these small little tasks and the bigger things throughout this job that now whenever I go into work, I can be quite independent. And whenever we're busy, I can just step into the back and be like, hey, these are the things I need to get ready. These are the jobs I have. And it's more of a routine now. I found that's actually been really, really helpful for me being able to step back and look at it in that kind of light.
Right. So for the listeners, when you
Mhm.
think about your curiosity around building computers, I know you have a couple of other interests,
Oh,
both on
yeah,
the creative side and the physical side. Can you
for
share
sure.
with listeners a little bit about what your interests are outside of, gaming and building computers and
Yeah.
maybe what those experiences have taught about yourself?
Hmm. Absolutely. I have like I kind of just pick up interests and like here and there, and I have a whole bunch of different hobbies that I come back to. But the biggest hobby I come back to very often is e-biking around town, like I was talking about earlier. Um, it's once again, I live in quite a small town, and it's just kind of like one little main street that connects everything, and otherwise it just disperses out into the wilderness. With this e-bike, I ended up getting back in, I believe, 2023, if I'm not mistaken. It's given me access to so much freedom, which I wasn't expecting at the time. Being able to just like wake up, get off of a job, no matter what time of day it is, hop on my bike and just go anywhere is super duper freeing for me. It's I find life can get really, really overstimulating when you're really in the move of it. You're always up to something. Being able to just hop on my bike, put in some earbuds, and go take a little bike ride to somewhere scenic. It's uh, it's just such an incredible feeling being able to get the fresh air and really decompress away from people. That's like the biggest thing I have right now.
Okay. And from, let's say, an educational perspective, I know you
Hmm.
do quite a bit of independent learning. Is there a
Hmm.
topic or subject that you've recently educated yourself on that's just consuming you
Yeah.
because you're so interested in it?
Right. It's one thing that's been really interesting to me is like where game development's been lately. It's a little bit of a niche thing, but or maybe it isn't. I don't know how big gaming has been lately, but gaming has come so far since like when it began back in like the 1980s. It's you've had different consoles, breakthroughs in hardware, and all these things. And as time has gone on and more it's become more of a normal thing. It's you'll see a lot of these older companies like Bethesda, for example. They used to be just a small team with one CEO, so they would bring their team, one person at a time to the CEO, and they'd sit down and be like, "Hey, we have this fantastic idea for, something in the game. Could we think about putting this in? And they just have lunch and talk about it. Whereas it's kind of gone into this new direction with a lot of big companies where Bethesda's owned by Microsoft now. So, and they have over 400, 500 employees working on one game at a time. It's very hard for these developers to actually go and talk to somebody to get ideas put into a game. It's almost like a decline in quality because it's gotten too big of a project in a way. And I've been seeing this with a lot of other companies like EA and Ubisoft and stuff like that, all these huge developers that have made incredible games before. But it's just as they've gotten open sourced and become open on the market, now they have investors and stuff like that. It's just this different level of pressure and crunch that kind of develops a studio almost and just kind of brings the quality of things down. And they end up worrying a lot more about the financial side of things. I found it's been quite negative how it's impacting like the overall game industry as a whole. But why I researched it is there's so many small companies now that are just like 4 or 5 different people that work on a game for 5 years off of a Kickstarter. And they end up releasing like this absolutely surreal experience that millions of people will buy and love. And it really builds that like small community of just dedicated people to this fan base that wouldn't normally be there. Like even solo developers have been working on a game for 2 years while they're in school, and then they'll sell millions of copies when they release. It's like this whole other, like, it's flipping the games industry on its head almost, where these smaller developers that wouldn't normally get the chance are just getting this new light that they didn't have before. And I think it's going to be a rebirth for the industry. It's really cool to stay into.
Amazing. Do you have a game in mind that has had that small mindset
Mm.
that has scaled into the millions of sales? Anything come to mind?
Absolutely. My favorite game for the longest time has been a game called Hollow Knight. And it started off by a Kickstarter from a studio called Team Cherry. And this Kickstarter, like, I think they made it for a game jam in like 24 hours. And it was this very, very basic game called Hungry Knight, where you just had a little character and you'd go around defeating other bugs to feed your knight, and then you'd progress and get stronger. But the people at the game jam loved it so much they created a Kickstarter that ended up hitting a bunch of different goals. And they made a full game for it back in, I believe they released in 2017. And what's different about these developers is it's only 3 people. They have one person that does all the art visually drawn by hand, so it's all hand drawn art. They have another person to develop everything, and then a few music artists as well. They outsource a little bit of the work, but they made this fantastic game, sold millions, and then they were going to make a DLC that added a new playable character. And because of the scale of the game, they decided to make it into a sequel called Hollow Knight Silk Song. And that released in, I believe it was September of 2025, if I'm not mistaken. And within a first week, it sold like 15 million copies or something of the sort. And they, even though they released this game after working on it for 5 years, they sold it at $15 Canadian, which is like new games like from Ubisoft or EA, like they're selling them for $80, $90 Canadian. Like it's huge, like it's an investment. But just the access to this game and the quality that it provided, like I don't think I've seen anything like it before. I've been keeping an eye out for other companies like that that are just willing to put the players first and provide a good experience. Like they described being in something called development heaven, which is very rare for a game, where they just enjoyed making the game so much that they didn't want to release it. So I've been waiting. They have some DLC on the way, so I'm waiting for that to come out this year, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. Do you ever hear about them in the background staying disciplined with the small team that they do have? Or
Absolutely. They've taken a really lovely approach that I'm really proud of, where they're trying to keep their small team of like, it's 3 main people, and then they'll outsource the parts that they need. They'll hire like live orchestras to make the in game music, and they'll hire a few, sound effect directors and that kind of thing. But for the most part, they've kept it to like their 3 or 4 people as their core to their studio. And that just gives them so much more freedom to what they can add and the ideas they can bounce off each other. It's like you can imagine going from 3 or 4 people developing a game. It'll take a really long time, but then everybody's really connected on the idea and it's really unison. Whereas if you have a studio of like hundreds of people, like 500 people working on a game, like the idea kind of gets lost between different studios and groups of people, then it ends up being more of a diluted, less intriguing product, which is kind of what we're seeing with bigger games now. I've been really happy with Team Cherry for how they've kept to their smaller roots, but they're willing to put the time and effort in to make it a good quality. It's not something you see very often.
fascinating. I haven't come across too many people that have your knowledge with respect
Mhm.
to gaming
Hmm.
specifically, but almost like the
Right.
business operations behind it. You're
Thank
intriguing me
you.
right now.
I appreciate that. It's a really big passion of mine, and I think it's going to change a lot over the next 5 years. Every day when I wake up, I'm putting on like a YouTube video that just talks about it in the shower and looking into it more, and it's really cool what's going on.
I really like to explore what this means for you in terms of your 5-year,
Hmm.
10-year plan, but we'll
Hmm.
get to that in a moment.
Sure, that sounds good.
You're known for being great with people. When did you first realize that was a strength?
Well, actually, not too long ago. Yeah. For the longest time, like through high school and like even afterwards, I had really bad social anxiety and stress just about even going outside. Like it was to the point like if I just had to go downtown to grab a coffee, I was stressed and I'd be avoiding it for the day. But as I've come to terms with where I'm at in life and kind of accepting who I am as a person, it's helped me break that down a lot. So whenever I go out and talk to somebody, it's not like this big stress or anxiety weighing on me of what's going on. It's just, how can I talk to this person? How can I brighten up their day? Enjoy a conversation. It's really come. I think especially I started waiting tables back in 2023, I believe, and that really really helped me as well. It's when you're going table to table, asking people different questions and getting orders and stuff like that. There's a lot of small chat and stuff. You can kind of pick up this next level of social understanding that I found has been really helpful. Like, I don't know, being able to just talk to that many people, you just get to really understand the basics of everybody's just living life and trying their best and, getting by as they can. And if you can think about that when you're talking to people, it just helps it be a lot less of an anxious experience. I've really tried to take that to the next level and just enjoy my time with people for who they are and where they're at. And that's been over just the last few years I've been able to do that. And it's been really, really helpful for me.
Great. You talked about social anxiety, a couple of areas that you are undiagnosed, but you feel maybe a part of your story or are a part of your
Mhm.
story. How do you approach showing up consistently at work, even on the tough days?
I found it's definitely hard to, especially when I'm at home before a shift. It's especially if I'm working 3 or 4 days in a row. It's that fourth day. I'll get out of bed. I'll be super sore and tired, and think of it as trouble to be there. But it really helps just breaking it down to they need the people, and it's really helps with the people I'm working with as well. Is they're just there to do their best no matter where they're at. Sometimes people aren't feeling their best, they have a headache or whatever is going on, they'll still show up and try their best, and that's really inspired me to just kind of get out the door, get there. And if I really feel like I need to leave during the day, then that's something I can do. I can, let them know I'm not feeling well. But just to show up and try my best while I'm there and try to take care of myself, it's been a really good way to kind of just get out the door, get there, and then try my best.
Okay. And when you show up to work, what kind of environment brings out your best effort? Like what's going on in the day at work that you can just reflect and say, this was an awesome day?
Right? It's once again, I always bring it back to it, but the people I work with just are complete make the deal. It's the two owners that own the business. Their names are Mandy and Aaron, and they're husband and wife. They're huge skiers, and they take things really casual. Like you're obviously trying to do your best, learn things while you're there, but they just break it down to like sometimes you're doing things for your first time. You're not going to do it perfect, but we'll just give you some, adjusting, criticisms and we'll go from there. Since it's such a low stress way to like learn and pick up the job, it makes it so much easier to show up and just do your best effort. It's like you can really see everybody just giving it their best. And sometimes people make mistakes, even like the people that are managers there that have been there for 6 years. It's like, when somebody like that can make a mistake, it's like, okay, I can make a few mistakes and we'll be okay. Like we'll make it through. Just like the down to earth, the happy environment, always cracking jokes. It just really brings out my best.
Yeah, I would agree. Like having that sense of humility, no matter whether it's a 10-person company or 50,000 employee company, just having the humility to understand that we all make mistakes and
Hmm.
being acknowledging it rather than sweeping things under the rug, it makes such a big impact.
Right? It really does. I haven't really had that at any job before this to this degree, but it's like even if you're like if I'm on assembly making a bunch of like wrappers and buns, if I mess up like a six pack of buns, it's like, that's just how it goes. We'll put on some more buns. Let's get those burgers out. Like it's just right back at it, making it happen. It's such a good environment to be in.
Yeah, yeah. When you hear the word leadership, what does it mean to you?
It's somebody that's able to look at the people that they're leading and not put pressure on them, but help them grow into the position that you're leading them into. It's I don't know if I'm wording that right, but it's just somebody that can really be there for the people that they're leading and help make it an environment where you're still getting to the goal, but in a healthy way for everybody. Someone that can like really reflect, bring good criticisms, but not make it like a negative experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you touched on humility, just
Hmm.
the fact that people are willing to own their
Hmm.
mistakes and
Right?
leading by example in a way
Mm.
where, like, you can make mistakes and you won't get in trouble. Like,
Hmm.
those are the things that I'm hearing from you.
Exactly. It's I find it's really important, especially in this day and age where everything's kind of in the air with, new AI things, new technologies. It's a lot of companies have been putting their profits first, but it leads to worse things down the road. I think it's really important to come back to base and be like, your employees are the ones making everything happen. If you can treat them well and give them a good environment, then you'll get the best quality possible. I think that's really
Yeah, so
important.
okay, so that's, external leadership, let's say.
Mhm.
How would you describe self-leadership?
It's like just for me personally or for sure. I found a big one for me is like once again I'm really into routines. I found a really good way to lead myself into a good lifestyle and just keeping myself healthy is getting into positive routines that I can still find joy in, but do bring me some good health in long run. Like I've recently taken up a lot of cooking as a big thing. Is I've been trying to like make a new recipe every week, and me and two buddies of mine, we've started a new thing for New Year's where I'm making a recipe book and we're going to do one recipe every week in the book. And then by the end of the year, we're hoping to have like a pretty solid recipe book with a whole bunch of different ethnicities and recipes and different things on there. And just that kind of thing, it's really helps keep me in a good lifestyle. And same with like self reflection is it's really good to look at what you're actually looking for in life and what your core values are and making sure you're staying true to that. It's really like I can't lead myself into a position where I'm treating myself poorly or treating the people around me bad. It's good to really step back and sometimes take a look at how you're living things and make sure that you're still staying true to that. And then it's really easy to lead yourself that way.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Do you see yourself as someone others naturally follow or trust?
I would say so. I try to stay as true to myself. And like my big thing I am with friends is like, especially your good friends to be there for. If I have good friends that are going through things, even if they're, being a bit of a pain in the butt, like I'm going to be there for them and make sure that I can help in some way. So I try my best to be someone that people are there for, but then I can also be there for them. Like it's a mutual kind of relationship.
Okay. And when you think of leadership, do you think it has to be loud or visible?
I don't think so at all. It's like what I've just done for a lot of my friends is I've just been like, "Hey, if you're going through anything, let me know. Like I'll be here for you." But same goes like if I'm going through something, if you wouldn't mind listening, and then we just kind of have that mutual understanding and it's not something that needs to be said all the time, but just knowing you have somebody that you can fall back on if you ever need it. It's not something that's always verbally said, but it's just something that you know is there, which I think is really helpful.
Okay. So I've been waiting for you to volunteer this. You haven't. I've done a little bit of research on you.
There we go.
Rumor has it you've shown a curiosity about space and astrophysics.
I have. I love space. It's a really big passion of mine.
What draws you to the world?
Just the big unknown. There's so many questions about it. Like we just have no idea about what's going on in space. I find it so interesting all the theories that are going on too because it's like even like the top minds of the world for hundreds of years have been trying to understand how everything came to be, what's happening. There's like conflicting theories from some of the smartest people in the world and I just find it so interesting to look into. One big thing I love like deep diving into is how black holes work because we've never gotten a chance to like really see one in any good amount or really experiment on one. It's really just a big unknown. Like, how does that work? It pulls mass in and just absorbs it? Are there, white holes on the other side that spit things out? Like, that makes no sense. It like warps time and stuff. It's just so much to it and just the big unknown. Like, there could there's almost definitely aliens somewhere out there in the world, but they just might be so far away we'll never get to interact with them. It's just the complete unknown and the ability to just the creativity to just think about all the possibilities of it is just so interesting to me.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if this is so much space, and if I sound
Mhm.
ignorant, just forgive me,
No,
but
for sure,
I
for sure.
just came off an episode of Stranger Things, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a great show.
they just introduced the wormhole. Not fully through the season, but I know wormholes have to something to do with space. Do they not?
They do in a way. I'm not super informed on wormholes
Okay.
specifically, but I think the whole idea is that there's like an entrance to a wormhole and an exit. And somehow, some way, you can go through a wormhole that would transport you somewhere else into space. I don't know what the amount of time would be between that and how it works going like a long distance through space, but that's like the whole idea is you go from point A to point B, really long distance through the world. It's really like unknown how that would work or like the science behind it, but that's like what I find so interesting about it is just that the idea of going into a wormhole, ending up somewhere and just like the science behind that is just so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you know if I figure out anything more about
Please
wormholes.
do. I'm interested in it myself. For sure.
When you imagine the future, do you think more about stability, exploration, impact, or freedom?
That's a fantastic question. I find for me personally, it's always come back to freedom. It's stability is something that's been on my mind for a while because it's something important to have. And I feel like that lets you have the most freedom. But at this current place I'm at in life, it feels like just being able to be true to myself and do what I find interesting and spend time with the people I care about is the most important thing to me right now. It's nice to have the backup option. Like if I ever need to just make a bunch of money really quick, I can go into the trades and get some practical hands-on experience right away. And that's like half a year process to just get a trade certification and get working. So that's just kind of like on my back burner just in case I need to get doing something. But in the meantime, it's just been as much freedom as I can, just, playing the games I enjoy, spending time with the people I like, and really just seeing the world for what it is. I think that's the most important thing to really be down to earth with.
Okay, so you touched on trades more, it sounds like to fulfill a financial need.
Mhm.
Um, if you were to wave your magic wand and identify something that you saw yourself in either tomorrow or in 5 years, what ideally would that be for you?
For sure. One thing I've kept really on my mind is either a like commentary YouTuber or streamer of some sort. I just don't know the logistics behind it, but I've already edited and posted one very small gaming video on there just to kind of see if I could or not. But it's like editing content is such a barrier that's hard to pass because there's so much to it. There's the subtitles, there's the transitions, there's the, little things that just make it good. You want to make it high quality. But yeah, if I could find a way, like I'm thinking about saving up and getting like an editor or something like that to make like that a little bit of an easier step in. But yeah, definitely some sort of YouTube comment creation or streaming of some kind, something to like build a community and really thrive with my passions.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I turned 22 in December.
22. At this stage of your life, how do you feel about having things figured out? And I'll give you some context. Prior interviews that I've had up today, especially with individuals in that 18 to 22-year-old category, maybe just coming out of high school, there's this feeling that they need to have things figured out, and if they don't, they feel like they've somewhat failed themselves or
Mhm,
feel disappointed. What I've heard is it's not really validated. It's just because there's
mhm,
this social environment where we feel we need to have all the answers at the age of 18. And that ties into what you choose in university or college, if you choose to go that route. And then when you graduate college or university, there's another phase where you don't
mhm.
feel like you have it all figured out. So what's your take on that?
It's definitely I feel it a lot, and I've been trying to distance myself from that because everybody's living their own path. It's like I was talking about earlier with like having social anxiety and how I've slowly like come through that by working as a waiter and like breaking it down. Is it's kind of the same deal. It's a lot of people set like an expectation, like just for example, like my grandma thinks that it's the only route in life that'll make you successful is going to university, getting a high pay lawyer like medication job, and then like just working until you're like 80 or 90, just like doing the same thing until you retire. And it's I understand where that point of view comes from as well. But the way that I've been breaking that down a little more is by staying informed on the world and kind of like learning a lot more. I find it's hard to really separate. Like I definitely feel like I should be on some route to a high paying job just to make things happen. But I've decided like just putting what I love first is like the best way for me to live my younger years. And I've had a lot of people tell me like their 20s are your time where you should live, you should do what you want to do. And it's like such a time for exploration and trying things. So I've just been kind of taking that to heart where I've been e-biking around lots. You can even see back there, I've been building lots of Lego and stuff like that. Like just kind of exploring different things I'm interested in and building and just getting as informed as I can. So once I get to, my later 20s, I can really settle down and know if I'm going into something, it'll be something I'll love doing for the rest of my life. And it is really hard to separate that. It doesn't feel like, this expectation that's always there, but I've been trying pretty hard to just get grounded to earth and separate myself from that.
Okay. And just at this stage in your life, have you identified something that you know you don't want in a long-term career?
Mm, yeah, definitely not an office job. It's like I enjoy playing games and streaming and that kind of thing, but I wouldn't consider that necessarily an office job. It's I need something with a little bit more freedom. So I would need to be able to try different things, learn lots, really get lots of, opinions on things, work with lots of people, be in some sort of, teamwork environment. I don't think I'd be able to do something like completely outdoors either. I would need a bit of a balance of being in and out. So there's lots of things on the table for that. I don't think I'd be able to, be out on like the prairies, just like tagging animals and stuff like that. Like I would love the work, but it wouldn't be as much up my alley. So definitely something that can keep me asking questions, staying creative, and really just learning.
Cool. And when you think about your personal values, what do you think how do you think they would guide your decisions subconsciously? So, like, what personal values, I should say, would guide your decisions?
Right. Let's see. Definitely, like I was talking earlier about how big corporations don't put their employees first sometimes, and it leads to like a worse product. So I don't think I'd be able to work at a job, like even if I was like the top head CEO of something like that, like just not putting my employees first and giving them a good place to work. I wouldn't be able to do something like that. Like I would really need to be somebody that even if I was like 100% owner of this huge company like Amazon, I would want to be in the warehouses, like helping pack trucks sometimes, really getting feedback on how things are working. Like, yes, you are the owner, but you're also like, you're the owner because you've gotten other people to do the work that you would be doing if you didn't have a large scale thing. So I would really need to be working somewhere that I felt was ethically valued to the people that are working there. One thing I've seen is a YouTube reviewer called Linus Tech Tips. And I don't know if you've heard about him before. He has, I think, 15 million subscribers on YouTube. But he started off as just a single person and he opened his own reviewing company and he would just build computers, test different parts, and he just slowly grew until now he has a warehouse and he has this big building of 80 employees or so. And it's every video. He puts out a few videos a day and they get like 15, 20 million views a video sometimes. But he started off super small, got big, and his whole thing is he pays like 10 or 15,000 above the like average salary for the positions for his employees. He makes sure they have dental coverage. They do fun Christmas activities. Like he'll do monthly giveaways for $2,000 or $5,000 budget, just hobby builds. So you can build a computer, buy a surfboard, like do whatever you want to do with that. And it's such a valuable thing to have like employees like that that are so dedicated and valuable to your team, but are still like getting like a good life out of it as well. I think there would need to be a balance for that for me if I was ever in that kind of position.
Uh, Absolutely. I think we're at a time where we're so digitized and sometimes we do feel like numbers where we
Absolutely.
work, especially in larger companies. But that sounds like there's a really sincere human touch that's taking place consistently there.
Absolutely. It's one of the only places I've seen that do that kind of thing. Not that there are more out there, but it's just firsthand. I've done a lot of research on it and I love that kind of environment.
Yeah. How do you handle setbacks or moments of self doubt?
I don't know. I find I do a lot of just like thinking about life and what's going on. And I think it really helps to break down that everybody's just trying their best and there's obviously going to be setbacks and stuff like that. It's tough with the ADHD, I find, to like actually get myself focused on things. So sometimes I'll let like my license expire when I have my learners and now I'll need to go redo my learner's test or something, or, something will break and you don't have the money to replace it or something like that. But it's just really helpful to know that everything happens for a reason and that like life's still going to keep moving. One thing I've been practicing lately is before I go to bed saying three things I'm grateful for throughout my day. And it's just when you can get down to earth, sometimes like my computer, for example, I spent like 1,500, 2,000 bucks on it building it back in 2023. And it's easy to take it for granted when you just have it built and it works every day. But when you really break it down, like one little shock from, the electrical grid, and it could be fried, a part could go bad sometime. You could download something that bricks it. Like it's a really sensitive piece of equipment. So being grateful for things every day, it's like when I get to lay in bed and spend 5 or 10 minutes just thinking of all the things I'm grateful for. Even if you're like have things go wrong, it's really easy to just enjoy life for where you're at if you can look at what you have that some other people might not have and just really be grateful for the things you do have.
I love that practice. I need to do it more myself, but I find that just doing that simple practice every single day can get you out of quite a few funks.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
it's helped me. I know that for a fact.
Right? It's helped me a lot mentally lately as well.
Excellent. What does success mean to you right now? Not long term, just
Mhm.
right now.
Right? I'd say success, like, obviously, it's a term that you can really put a lot of meaning around. But for me personally, I don't tie it to financials or to where you're at in life. I'd say it's just the people that you have. It's having good friends, good family, having support, just being able to live a lifestyle that you can enjoy. Cause it's like, especially since I've started trying to like learn more about the world and be curious, you see things that are happening like in Gaza Strip or like the war between Russia and Ukraine, just all these crazy things going on in the world. And it's really, without being informed about that, it's hard to put yourself in that situation and think about how that would be. But like once you start looking into what's going on, how the war is going, and just like imagining yourself in that situation, it's tough for sure. So I find I really come home and I'm like, wow, life is good. I have so much going on that's working for me. Like I can go to the grocery store and buy food and it's not like it's expensive, but it doesn't break my bank. And I find that really helps for sure.
I feel like that's rare, Keegan, to be honest. Sometimes I feel like we're in this first world where, we
Right.
take the things that we do have for granted and we
Hmm.
need more. And
Right.
so I love how you just break it down to the simple things that are seen as like something that maybe we're entitled to, but really they're gifts and
Yeah.
privileges in
Right.
a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking into it a lot more lately because obviously all the stuff politically going on in the states or just different crazy things that are going on between governments and countries and different crazy projects that are going on. It's a lot of the time the people of the country aren't being put first, and I find that's even the case in Canada. But like at the end of the day, like even though Canada's not like the best country to live in, things are expensive, housing's expensive. We don't have wars. We have like when I go outside, there are like beautiful mountains I can go look at. Like I can hop on my bike and just look at the river, listen to the creek flow. It's like having that pure calm and just grounding is such a rare thing to have around the world. I try my best not to take it for granted.
When you think of yourself, your younger self, what would that younger version of you be surprised to know about you today?
That is a deep question. I think probably that I'm so good with like actually interacting socially now. It's like when I was younger, I like every little thing like felt like a huge mission. I've already mentioned not being good with things that are outside my routine and whatnot. But lately I've been trying to just put myself outside my comfort zone and try new things and see what's out there in the world and try and be outgoing as possible. And I know when I was younger, I was trying to stay outgoing and do my best and whatnot, but it's like I would definitely prefer to just kind of like curl up in bed and just kind of like, relax and, be stressed about life, but not really do anything to fix that. So I think younger me would be pretty happy that I've been taking it into my own hands and trying to figure things out a little bit more.
So similarly to the community that you've built online for gaming, let's assume that with a bunch of listeners right now that are relating to your situation where they're your age, but let's also just say that they're unsure about their path, like what's to come next. What advice would you give to that community?
Great question again. You've got some really good ones cooked up here. So I definitely say just experiment, see what works, see what you don't like, see what you like. It's really like it's easy to look at something like, let's just say a sport like lacrosse. It's easy to look at that and be like, I don't think I'd like it because I don't like how the sport looks when I'm watching it. It just doesn't seem like my kind of thing. But it's hard to really know if you like lacrosse or not unless you play it once or twice. It's like, you've got to get in there and really see what it's like. So I just recommend anybody to just try as many things as possible. And it's like put the social standard of having to be into like a second education away for a sec and just do what makes you feel like you. I understand going into university again right away out of high school if you have a path that you're really passionate about, like firefighting, being in the medical industry, especially, like that's a really valuable skill to have. But if you're going in there just to see what is up in the world, that can be helpful. But I'd find it so much better to just do a little bit of job shadowing, ask questions. Like one thing I've been doing a lot lately is having like a phone is such an incredible resource. Like just being able to pull out like an infinite list of every bit of information ever recorded by humanity and just searching. Like you can just ask questions. Like it's amazing. So I've just been going on there and like if there's ever something you want to learn about, like keyboards, for example, that's how I got into it. Is I just went on YouTube and I was like, "Hey, I'm interested about keyboards. Let me find a video." So I went and looked at a few videos, and they were like, "Hey, if you ever want to build a keyboard, here's a few good options. You've got a few different parts. May as well give it a shot." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give that a shot." So it's just like little things like that, like just kind of try to put yourself out of your comfort zone and give a few things a try and see what really sticks and doesn't.
Just roll up your sleeves, don't overthink
Mhm.
it, do it. I
Exactly.
like
And if
it.
you don't like it, you don't have to go back. It could be a short thing. It's like if you go to your lacrosse match and you don't like it, you can leave. No, that's on you. So, just give it a shot, right?
I like the
hmm
tie-in and the tie
hmm
back to
Right?
lacrosse. Well
Well, thank
done.
you. I appreciate it.
What are you most excited to explore next in your life?
Definitely a little bit more travel. I'm personally quite a homebody because I've kind of brought back to like the routines. Like I'm really, I have a lot of trouble like getting outside of what I normally do. So I'm really looking forward in the next like year or two. I like to move out to Vancouver Island, somewhere around Nanaimo. And I'd like to just like split rent with a few people, just try a few different jobs, see what the world's like, maybe do a bit of traveling, just kind of get out of my comfort zone in that way and see more about the world. Because, like I was saying, it's really hard to put yourself in somebody's shoes if you haven't seen what their shoes are like before. So, being able to go to places like Vietnam or like into Africa and different places, then I feel like I could get a new perspective on the world that I wouldn't normally have and kind of absorb a few more cultures. I don't really like being ignorant to what other people have going on. It's really easy to see somebody with anger issues and be like, they're just an angry person. I don't want to be around that. When really it stems from something deep that's been going on for them for a long time. And that anger might just be their way of letting out some other type of emotion that they're feeling. So I feel like it would be very helpful for me to explore a few different areas and really understand other cultures and why things work the way that they do.
Do you find so that anger example that you brought up, do you find that that approach helps what you do every day as a server? Because I can imagine
Absolutely.
not everybody treats you with
Yeah.
happiness and kindness.
Oh yeah, you do get some pretty rough people. No, I've especially at my old job, Waits News, where I was actually waiting table to table. You'd get like groups of like 10 or 15 bikers that come in, and if you chat with them, they just tell you to shut up and leave. So it's like that's just how it goes. But I don't know. I've broken it down to a science where everybody has different things going on throughout their day. So you can't really hold that to a person because you don't know what they're going through. And as a person, I kind of take it like they're not trying to insult me as a person. They just have other things going on, and that's just a reflection of what they have going on. And I found that's really helped me enjoy, like, especially talking with people and learning about people a lot, is just knowing everybody has their own things going on, like divorces, family issues, job issues. Like, everybody has their thing. So just being able to put that like personal grudge bit aside and just being like, okay, you are at a place where you shouldn't be talking to people, but that's okay. You can just live your own life. I won't take that personal, and that's okay. I found that's really been helpful.
Nice. Okay, so I'm springing this on you. This is called rapid fire.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna have questions. You have literally 3 to 5 seconds to answer. Okay, so just spew it out. You
Okay, I'll
ready?
be ready. Perfect.
Right. Early riser or night owl?
Early riser.
Routine or variety? Learning by doing or learn by watching?
Learn by doing.
Big picture or details?
Details.
People energy or solo time?
Social time. Actually, personal time.
One habit you're trying to build right.
Being more connected with the people I care about.
Something you're better at than you used to be.
Taking care of myself.
What drains your energy fastest?
Doing something outside of my comfort zone.
What recharges you quickest?
Spending some good quality me time.
One skill you want to improve this year?
Cooking.
A team environment or independent tasks?
Team environment.
Stability or exploration?
Exploration.
A job you know you wouldn't want?
Carpenter.
A skill you think will matter more in the future?
Computer scientists / developers.
All right, just a couple more. A topic you could talk about for hours.
Anything electronic or gaming.
A
How's that?
moment you felt proud of yourself recently.
I hit Immortal in a game called Valorant that is top 0.22% of like 10 million players. That's
Okay, I'm going to say congratulations. I
Thank
don't know
you.
what that means, but congrats. That's a
It
big
was
deal.
a 6-year grind, but we got there.
One thing people often misunderstand about you.
My intention.
Advice you'd give your younger self.
Go with the flow.
One word you want the next year of your life to be about.
Exploration.
Awesome. Keighan, we're going
Yeah.
to end it there. I just want to thank you for your time. I didn't know what to get, what to expect coming into this discussion, but you were certainly a very interesting mind. I love your curiosity and your fascination with lots of things, but you're so well versed in gaming and just I'd love to pick your brain a little bit more about space and
Right?
astrophysics, but I'm sure people listening did get quite a few things to think about, especially just having that freedom of choice and getting experience with things that you may not have experience with. So you're a great example of that. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. It was great to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, before we officially wrap up the episode with Keighan, I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on a few themes that really stood out in this conversation. One of the biggest takeaways here is that confidence doesn't always come from having clarity. It often comes from showing up, trying things, and allowing yourself to learn in real time. Keighan's story is a reminder that not every path is linear, and that's not a flaw. It's often the point. We also talked a lot about learning styles. Traditional systems may not necessarily work for everyone, and that doesn't mean you're behind or incapable. Curiosity, self directed learning, asking questions, and building routines can be just as powerful, sometimes even more so, than formal structure. Another strong theme was self leadership, not the loud, performative kind, but the quiet kind that shows up in daily habits, such as building routines that support your mental health, reflecting on your values, taking care of yourself, and choosing environments that allow you to grow without pressure. There was a clear emphasis on people and culture, how healthy environments, humility, and kindness can completely change the way we experience work, leadership, and ourselves. And finally, maybe the most important takeaway: your early 20s are not a deadline. They're a season for experimenting, exploring, and building self trust. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need the courage to try, reflect, and keep moving forward. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who might need that reminder. And if you're enjoying these conversations, be sure to follow or subscribe to Flashback Files. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep experimenting, and keep showing up as you are. We'll see you on the next one.